item 4?
Yeah.
I'm sorry.
You skipped item 4.
Oh, sorry. Okay. I thought that I was about to say, consideration and action to repair East Sixth Street from World War One, complete the street or a portion of the street.
They're gonna wait for him to come in? Okay. Sorry about that. Juan's trying to get on. And so I'm able to do that without coming to the council. However, I really hate to do a half a block, and so I asked them to also give us a price from Arroyo all the way back to Pita, so that it'll be done, the whole block. And that will take an additional $35,000.
So, I can hear them in your phone. Let's see what. Okay. Yes. Okay. Okay.
To additional $35,000 in order to do the whole street, and we can get it done right now where these 2 or 3 contractors are in the area, so they don't have to, it's a little cheaper because we don't have to mobilize and everything, they're already here doing work.
So you're talking about just repaving it or doing
$35,000. Wrong. We already have 30, we would need an additional 35.
Okay. Okay, but you say redoing the whole street, does that mean curb as well, curb there?
Curbs, most of the curbs, there's a little portion of the curbs that's fine, they won't redone, but the rest of it will, and it'll fix that part right at the end where it doesn't drain. She showed those last time, and if you've driven by there, you see it very easily, it's,
That's the old style curb, the real low.
yes, it's,
Replace that as well?
called a half curve, yes, those will be replaced
Replace everything?
into the right curve, or not the right, a full curve instead of, they call it a half curve or lay down curve, I think. A lay down curve is what they used to do those a lot like, so those will be replaced.
Okay, so that would make it similar for the whole street, right?
Yes, sir. So it's an additional 35,000.
For an additional 35?
So then you're looking at 65?
Except, provide funds of total 65,000
Yeah.
to complete the street repairs on Peacock. I'll go ahead and second that. Are there any questions or discussion?
Yes, this is still coming from the original, account where they've done some of the other, street work, right?
The 30,000 is, the 35 is an additional fund that we're asking,
And that's coming from general fund?
general fund,
Okay.
yes,
And we can take it without interrupting anything else?
yes,
Okay.
absolutely.
So we have that money available. Is that correct, Mark?
The whole thing.
Juan's asking a question.
I said we have that money. We have that money right now. We don't need to borrow no more money right now, right?
No, sir, we have the funds, to be able to do that. We wouldn't be borrowing any money.
Sorry, there's something wrong with, I didn't understand the thing you said.
Juan asked if we were gonna have to borrow the money, and I said, no, we do have the funds for that.
Okay. You have a question? Now, those in favor, indicate by saying aye. Aye.
Aye.
Those opposed,
Aye.
same sign. Motion carries. Item 5, consideration of action to approve engineering for a proposed sidewalk on Whipple Road.
Mr. Mayor, members of the council, this is something that has been talked about for several years, and we have been waiting on the I don't know how the right word is, we had got some additional funding from TxDOT to do engineering on widening the entire road of Whipple Road from 1575 to 1847. That's gonna take 3+ years to get that engineering done. In additional, there's no construction funds yet, and so we don't even know at the end of 3 years when they get that engineering done, that we will be able to widen that. So what was mentioned is, let's go ahead and put the sidewalk and try to develop it where the sidewalk will be in the future. It might not all be there because it's kind of hard to do in this far in advance, but we would work to put that sidewalk far on the outside as possible. Two things: it gets it away from any expansion of the road in the future, but it also gets the people away from the road more. So, talking to Paulina, it's a lot of work, especially from 1847 to about where the church is, to where Bougainville is, I think, or maybe it's the next street, but there's a lot of houses in there close, but we think it's something that we need to do, and if we put it off, and if, God forbid, someone got, a kid was hit, we would say we should have done this sooner. So, I think it's something that we ought to go ahead and do, and to the best of our ability, get it out of the way of a potential, road expansion later, and let her design it, and then we'll go out for bids and try to get the project done. But this is just due to the engineering part of it.
Yeah, because my question was that I asked Mark was if we could hold on until we fix the road, so that way we won't do it twice or spend twice the money. But like he was saying, it's gonna be a project that might take 3-4 years before we get it done, because we have plans to fix Whipple Road. But I asked them the question because I didn't want to spend money now and then spend money next year. But he said it might take like 3 to 4 years before we do the Whipple roads.
Yes, the 3 to 4 years would be the very best case scenario. If everything fell into place, probably be longer than that. So that's why I think it's good to go ahead and protect those that are walking and get a sidewalk in there.
And the sidewalk will not be in the way or interfere or be destroyed once Whipple Road is expanded?
No, we can't say that.
Okay.
What I said is we'll do our best to get it on the far edges of the right-of-way so that as that road is being redone, it's less likely that we'll have to go that far out. But we can't guarantee that because there's Laguna Madre has a 36-inch water line in the right-of-way. There's East Rio Hondo water lines. There's electrical lines. There's just so much in that area that I can't say that with 100% certainty. I'm pretty certain that after you get past where the houses are, which is maybe not half, but it's about half, we can move it all the way over to the south side because there's a field there.
Right.
And it would be right up against, or my idea, of course, we'll look at it in the engineering study of it, is put it there as far to the edge of that right of way as possible. And that's your best case scenario, that you wouldn't have to move it later.
And let's just say we went ahead and did it, and when they expanded the road, it is in the way, who's gonna pay for removing?
That'll be part of the project,
Okay.
which as well as part of that project is gonna be also to have to move that 36-inch water line, to have to move East Rio Hondo's water line, have to move AEP's electrical lines. I mean, it's gonna be a huge project, and that's why 3 to 4 years is, if it happened, we would need to be having a big party. It's just not gonna happen that quick.
And the engineering is coming from the, what was it called, MPO?
For this,
Uh-huh,
no, this is general fund.
okay. No, but the engineering part, the one that's gonna take 2 to 3 years, is that still coming from the MPO?
Yeah, through TxDOT,
Okay,
yes. And CCRMA, Cameron County Regional
Right.
Mobility, is the one that is doing that project.
okay.
And they're in the environmental stage, and it takes a year, 2 years, depending on.
Yeah.
In something like this, Mark, could you request the engineer to tell you more or less some kind of percentage on that might need to be destroyed after we start the street?
It's too early. It's too early in that, to know that one.
Oh, okay.
I didn't quite understand what you said when you mentioned something about 3 or 4 years.
The engineering is gonna take 2 to 3 more years for that to, be done. After that, we still don't have the funds to do the road. We'll have to find the funds to do the road. I think it's scheduled in through the TxDOT, through the MPO, but that's like, as much as 10 years from now for the actual construction funds. The thought is our TERS would have some money by 3 or 4 years, that once it pays off the Henderson Road project and our street projects, that it would have more funds available to where we could use those funds, but that's so far down the line, we don't know that. And so, what I'm saying is we can wait, I don't have a problem waiting, but you gotta realize that we're talking about, 4, 5, 10 years before that's gonna happen.
That helped, that with the other sidewalk to school project, somebody helped to finance that, was it the state or who was that?
It was through the MPO, through TxDOT, it is
TxDOT?
safe routes to school project.
Okay. And that's not available anymore?
Well, actually, yes, kind of, we already have a project from them that's gonna be done next year, is from First Street to Henderson Road, on the west side of 1847.
Okay.
And that was another project that we presented along with the other ones that they did along 100 a couple years ago, and then south, both sides from Highway 100 back to the south city limits on 1847.
I'm thinking that since, I think that the school district tends to, will benefit from that project as well, because a lot of kids travel or walk to school, and, maybe we can work out something with the superintendent to work. Maybe, we can work together on that project if possible. Because like I say, the school district will benefit from that, and that it'll make it safer for the kids to walk to and from school. But, yeah, I'm thinking it might be something to consider, they might be able to come up do some funding. We could approach them about this, nothing else. See what they say. I don't know if they have anything, they may say no, but it's worth asking. Down the road.
I don't have a problem asking them, at all.
I'm sorry?
I don't have a problem asking them that question at all.
Okay.
I don't think they've ever done sidewalks out just in the community anywhere, but that doesn't necessarily mean they can. I don't know if they could or not.
Yeah. I'm pretty sure that's a concern to them as well, because I've seen kids running, for track and those kind of things, cross country. I think they use that area for running as well, and, if they're gonna run out there, they should be kept safe, or as safe as possible. Okay, well then, right now we're just, approving engineering services. Are there any other questions or discussion? If not, I'll entertain a motion. I'm going to accept, approve engineering proposed road sidewalk. For the second? I second. Motion has been made and seconded that we approve the engineering, for proposed sidewalk on Whipple Road. Any other questions or discussion? If not, those in favor, signify by saying aye. Aye. Those opposed, the same.
Aye.
Item 6, consideration and action to appoint a member to the Planning and Zoning Commission. With, any other individual that applied for some of the other board positions, indicate any interest?
Mr. Gordon.
Sorry?
Gordon.
He, okay. Then I'll go ahead and move that Mr. Capone be appointed to the Planning and Zoning Commission. Is there a second? Second. Motion has been made and seconded, and Mr. Capone be appointed to the Planning and Zoning Commission. Questions or discussion? If not, those in favor, signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Those opposed, the same. Motion carries. Item 7, consideration and action to update the employee policy concerning COVID-19. Mark?
Mr. Mayor, members of the council, this is a item that you'll see on page 74 of your packet. It's from Wage and Hour, and it's part of the Families First Coronavirus Response Act. And what it does is gives or kind of forces employers to offer up to 80 hours of sick leave in addition to what normal sick leave there is for an employee that is tested and is out for the coronavirus. That page 74 is kind of the summary of it all. We have taken on page 75, 76, 77, and put it into a policy so that we can let our employees know what it is if you test positive or if you're have to be in isolation. It's 14 days, so the 80 hours covers 10 of the work days, which you would think that then you would have the other 4 days as the weekend. So that is the basis behind it. And so what we would do is for normal hourly staff employees, they would, for a 2-week period, it would be 80 hours. For a police officer, it would be 85 because their pay is based off of 85-hour work week. because of the way their staffing is. And our policy just gives different scenarios. It tells them, you know, that if you're sick, you stay home. If you're, you need to be honest and open with the department head, with myself, of what's going on, who you come in contact with, if there's a possible, contact that would be, a problem. And so, it just kind of lays it out as some new area we're going through. And, so like I say, we based it off of several other people's policies, using what Wage and Hour says as a guide, for that.
Mark,
Yes, sir.
does the employee have to bring me a copy? We're gonna make 2 weeks paid leave, we need to make sure that it's approved, that they have.
That's a good question. They have to show that they have gone to a test site and done a test. There's some employers don't require that you go do the test. We have in here that you're required, because we were afraid that, and it will, we've already had a little issue with some questionable things prior to today, that we have to do some more investigation on and questioning employees, and you hate to do that. So part of the procedure is that if you are exposed or you have symptoms, then you go get tested. And so we use that, the ones that have either had the test or their spouse or someone living in their home has been positive, well, then we've used that data to file to be sure, so that, because otherwise people will use it 2 weeks vacation. And so, we've talked to all the staff already about this, that, you know, this is something that the federal government came down and said that we have to provide for you. If it's abused, well, then you take let's say you take it and you're really not sick, you really weren't exposed, and so you're out for that. You come back to work, and a week later you do get sick, then you don't have that leave any longer. And so, we talked to them about that, showing them that, you know, this is serious, it's for that use and that use only. So, so that's what we use, either a doctor or them going to a place, and it shows where they've, taken that test.
So you're saying that you verify it?
Yes, we've been verifying the ones that we've done so far.
Here was this cleared by Cameron County Health Department. Could it also be by a doctor,
Yes, the next one, if you'll see the next one, it can be cleared by a doctor.
medical professional?
Cameron County Health, what they do on all of the, and it's really not a doctor's checkup, they ask a series of questions and try to get you to be sure that you're telling the truth, and they do a pretty good job. We've had some of our staff already go through that questioning, and so that's why it's there. It's recommended that they clear you before you allow them back to work. And so they provide a letter
Right.
that they're cleared to come back.
The way they hear it, they got a questionnaire, and they question you whether one of your relatives has been with the virus, or you have been in contact. And if they do say yes, they get sent home for the test, and then they wait for the results of the test. And if they come negative, they get back to work. But if they come positive, they'll give them the 14 days until they get better. So that's the way to do it.
Yes.
The other issue is that I don't know if you understand it or not, but if you do get a test, the expectation is that you're gonna go home
Yeah.
until you get the results. That's the way it's supposed to work. Unfortunately, a lot of employers have the people return to whether they've been tested and they may or may not be positive. If they're positive and asymptomatic, they can spread the virus to people that they work with.
Right.
So that's another thing that you need to consider when you do the health department, is keeping tabs on the people that are tested to determine whether or not they're positive. If they are, we're gonna make sure that the whole family gets checked. And that's procedures that they have in place to monitor those things. And like I say, I mean, our company is just as guilty because they're the same way. If you don't show symptoms, even though you've been tested, they expect you to go back to work. But you may be positive and you're gonna be spreading the virus to other staff and patients as well. So it's kind of not a very good situation.
This is the thing with opening schools. If one student in the classroom tests positive, do all the students get quarantined? Does the teacher get quarantined? Does the bus driver get quarantined? Does the cafeteria get quarantined with one student?
Supposed to.
I'm glad I'm only running the city.
Not the school.
Wow, that's a big question, I mean, tough.
Yeah. Okay.
And this does not come out from their regular sick leave, right?
Correct.
Okay.
They still have their regular sick leave, but,
This is in addition.
the government and the CARES Act felt that this should be in addition to that.
Right.
And of course, they didn't give the cities money to fund that extra. that
Extra
they're
time off,
getting,
yeah.
but, they were required it.
You have a question?
You're muted, Juan. Can you unmute? Go again, we didn't hear.
Yeah, no, I was asking if they go for the 14 days, it's a separate deal besides their sick leave days and stuff like that. It's not gonna get touched.
Correct. Unless they're sick or longer, then they'll start using their regular sick leave after the 80 hours, or if it's a police officer, 85.
Okay.
The other issue is that sometimes the symptoms are so bad that even if you're cleared, some people
It takes
still end
longer.
up
Yeah.
having to go back to the hospital. So they're still having problems breathing.
Correct.
So that's virus to catch. Okay, are there any other questions or discussion? If not, I'll entertain a motion.
I'll go ahead, I move to update the employee policy concerning COVID-19 according to the discussion.
I'll go ahead and second the motion. Any other questions or discussion? If not, those in favor, signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Those opposed, do the same. Motion carries. Item 8, consideration and action on COVID-19 response method.
Mr. Mayor, members of the council, I just wanted to, give you a little update. I know the mayor and Mayor Pro Tem have been a lot of our conference calls to the county. If there's less, you can pass that out. This first page, is something that we look at every week. It shows the weekly positive, new positives. As you can see, where we started off way back in March, and had a rise, and then kind of dropped, and then a little rise, and then dropped back, and then boom, really, over the last few weeks has been, some big numbers. The next sheet, did you give them this yet? I'll wait then. This next sheet is, also from the very beginning. I think, March 19th was the first case that we had here. But if you go, and then you just see all of those, each day, why not, I'll get you this tomorrow if you would like it.
Okay.
This third page, it shows the first column, where it says 321, if you can see that under, July 13th, which was yesterday. So there's 321 positive cases that day. The next column is the number of deaths. Fortunately, there was no deaths that day. And then the next column is how many recoveries that they're reporting for that day. So those are the three things, the positives, the number of deaths, and then the recoveries. You can see the total number of positives we've had so far is 4,175, with 79 deaths, 2,590 recoveries, and then you can see that next column is 1,506. And what that tells us is that's how many active cases there are today in Cameron County. In other words, we know of 1,506 people in the county that have that. And the other is just, I tracked something else with it, so it's not really important. So that's what I do with that paper. We look at that daily. Another thing that we do on our call, they go over with us the total number in Los Fresnos, and you'll see that come out, and it's 252 as of yesterday. And you go, man, that's a lot for a real small town. Please know that that includes all of 78566 zip code, which is all of Orales and just that whole area to the north here, and out toward Bayview, and I think they're separating some of Bayviews now, but and including the detention camp, they don't have Bayviews. They have that within ours, and there's 70-something at the detention camp alone. The other thing that we do is hospital capacities. If you watch the news, the numbers at the hospitals are unbelievable. They're over capacity. Just yesterday, there was 110 what they call holds. And that's 110 people that are waiting in the emergency room, or a hallway, or a chair, or something that do not have a bed. And so that's the scary part of this. The other piece of the puzzle is a lot of ICUs. The number of ICU beds in a hospital, they've doubled, and then they've tripled it, gone from 30 ICU beds now to 60, and different hospitals, different numbers. So it's a concern. The county judge is wanting to go back to a more of a shelter in place. I don't know that the governor is going to allow that. We'll see. My concern that I've raised a couple of times is there's been 40,000 tests done in Cameron County. And as you can see on this page, 3,800 has been positive. There's another 3,500 that's negative. So you're talking about 7,500 to 8,000 test results have been gone. I mean, have returned. That means there's 32,000 that we don't know about right now. That is the scary part, because they're so far behind that some of those that were getting positive now are back in May time frame, And we might be reacting to something that happened in May or early June, and they're already well by now. So, they're working on that. I've offered, to help. And we're gonna do that either with some volunteers or maybe with some of our staff. What they're needing is callers, to call where the backup is at the doctor's offices. They have called and they'll tell you, okay, we have 5 positives, but they don't tell from what day or how many negatives they are, so they have no way to balance that out. And so what they're wanting is I just said, hey, we need to fix this. How can Los Fresnos, what can we do to try to help that? And they need callers. So, any volunteers, let me know. If not, we're probably going to send some staff to try to help get that. Because if you ever get caught up, well, then you're looking at real-time data from day to day, and then it means something that's valuable. All of that said, even though we've got that 32,000, you go, well, where are they? We know the hospitals are full, so we know it's critical. So we can catch up on the other numbers over the next week or so, while hopefully the numbers start declining in the hospitals, and then go back and use these numbers as really a better guide to see where we're at. I'd like to just say thanks to our police officers, Public Works, Fire Department, EMS. A lot of testing's been going here and through Los Fresnos over the last 2 to 3 weeks. And it's taken a lot of effort by the city and fire and EMS to make that happen. We have people come out here starting at 6, 7 at night or the next morning at 9. And so they'll stay all night. We got permission from the rodeo to allow the rodeo grounds to be used. And so we're able to keep all of those cars in the rodeo grounds and not strung down Highway 100. So safety has been a very good, but it takes personnel. We've had to get light plants to put out there because some people get irritable staying there that long, and so we've had some challenges with people wanting to fight and that sort of thing. But our guys have done a fantastic job and working a lot of hours to make all that happen. So the other pieces, we get a lot of calls from the city, from businesses, asking the girls up front, Jackie, myself, what do we do? I've got this employee that this happened. What's the rule on this? What's that? So we're fielding a lot of calls and dealing with that. So kudos to not only those, but our staff here that's doing a wonderful job as best we can with where we're at.
Mark, if you were looking for volunteers,
Yes,
who would they call?
me. And what I'll do is visit with that person, and then I'll take that number that they give me, and I'll give it to the emergency management coordinator, and then they can work straight with him to do that. They have enough spots for 4 phones, and if they could get somebody in there calling these doctors and getting that information, he said that you can imagine the sheer numbers. They need some help. That's all I have on that, unless y'all have questions.
Thank you, Rob, and I'm not, because it is a bad situation. We're having to deal with that every day, and pretty amazing, it's his hard, that virus is hard. I mean, I've known people that are walking today around, and 5 days later, they're gone. I mean, bad. But it's hit you hard, it can kill you very quickly. So, nothing to take lightly. We all need to take it very seriously and do what we need to do to take care of ourselves and take care of our family, to make sure that we don't get the virus. I mean, we know what works, we need to do those things that we, to help ourselves and to help others. That would be the shelter-in-place, social distancing, the face mask, hand washing. Those things alone, just the face mask alone can help.
Any indication as to which way the district is, school district is leaning? With the controversy going on, whether to open, not to open?
I think they're pushing the start date, I've heard, back into early September. And the reason why they're doing that is to, more time. They have talked about, you can do all online or you can go every other day. I think they're offering both of those right now. Whether that'll change over the next few weeks, I think that's anybody's guess, because it's such fluid, between TEA and the governor, so.
Right. Do we need to take any action on that one?
No, there's no action, it just, in case there needed to be, action, you wanted me to officially take some action, I had it available for you if you did, otherwise we'll just move on.
Okay. Then we'll go ahead and go on to the accomplishment of the city manager's report.
I have a few things besides there that I wanted to mention. Our project for our water, plant upgrade and our sewer, we will, it's going to the Water Development Board, and then we should have the information ready to, for the August 11th meeting to take some action. Don Gonzalez will be here. He's, the city's financial advisor that helps with this, and so, hopefully that'll be there for the next meeting in August. There's an outside chance that'll be in September, but right now it looks like it'll be August. August meeting that we'll do that. We've got a lot of projects going right now. I counted them 7 active projects, from the wastewater, the hike and bike trail now, the nature park, what we're doing there, the disaster grant construction that, G&T is doing, the Henderson Road project, our lift station project, and then the alley paving project. So we've got 7 active projects right now, along with 3 that we're, the two other projects that'll talk about in August, and then, we're still working on the drainage, which, we have applied for some grants for that, so, anyway, lots of stuff going. I put on packet page 81, just the audit information from last meeting. You instructed me to negotiate with Car Rigs and Ingram. We were able to do that in a very, very good way, I think. You asked me to cap it at 44. They kind of wanted to go straight to 44. But as you can see, if it's just a base audit, this year will be $36,000, which only is $330 more than last year, so that's good. And then it moves up $2,000 each year. If you have to do a single audit, which is required sometimes with government funding, if you go over $750,000 in funding for those, and that would be 40 for the first year, 42 second year, and 44, we would finally meet that 44 cap that you said, but not till the 3rd year. If we do the base audit, we don't even get close to the 44. We stay the 40, so we did a good job on that, keeping those costs low. Did you give them this? This is for the disaster relief project, which is 10th Street and Whipple Road.
Thank you.
you approved, the change order for that, and this is the work schedule. If you wanna keep up with that, their G&T Paving is the contractor on that project, and, they're blowing and going already, doing really good. And I'll leave it at there unless y'all have questions. Oh, I do wanna mention, Mayor already mentioned it, but I do have to say about the sales tax. We're very fortunate to have, the COVID has kind of helped us because people are staying close to home, whether they're staying in or not, I don't know, but, they're buying closer to home, it seems like, and so our sales tax is just continues to, do well where other cities are struggling very big, very mightily, and we're not. It looks like we will be in the year, 162,000 is my guess, over budget, so that's pretty phenomenal in a year. You look back over the last 15 years, we've had good increases, but, this is a big one because of the times we're in. And it does take, work from our staff, chamber, CDC, you guys, and our businesses, of course, they're the ones that sell the product, so, we're in a good place.
Any questions? Not all make a motion that we acknowledge the freelancer's report is stated.
I'll
Is there a
second. I'll second.
Motion has been made and seconded that the freelancer's report be acknowledged as stated. Questions or discussion? If not, those in favor, signify by saying aye. Aye. Those opposed to same. Motion carries. Item H, acknowledgement of the department head report. Any questions with regard to the department head report? Not, I'll go ahead and move that we acknowledge the department head reports in their currently stated. Is there a second? Second. Motion has been made and seconded that we acknowledge the department head report as stated. Questions or discussion? If not, those in favor, signify by saying aye. Aye. Those opposed to same. And it is 7:11 and we stand adjourned.